return home.
And we go now to Senator Chris Dodd and his wife Jackie Clegg, who are there sitting on this couch. He's going to deliver the news to his constituents, as he did to the Hartford Current earlier, that in fact he has early stage prostate cancer. This is in Hartford, and let's listen in now to the senator.
My cell phone's off. It's on vibrate.
Salsa music.
Well, listen, first of all, thanks for coming out. And today, I've been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and about 6 weeks ago. And first of all, this is a very common form of cancer. 1 out of every 6 males, at some point, if they live long enough, can be diagnosed with prostate cancer. And so I'm very confident that we're going to come out of this well. I had an annual physical done back in June, as I do every year. And as a result of that annual physical, something called a PSA test, which is a relatively new test over the last number of years, spiked up, was an elevated test. And as a result of that, it was recommended I have a biopsy done. And so I did that in June, and the biopsy came back and confirmed that I had prostate cancer. And as a result of that, I've gone through a series of conversations with people in the medical field to determine what best course of action to follow. And let me just mention 2 or 3 things if I can. One is I feel fine. As I say, this is very common. If you've got to have cancer, I'm told by some doctors, this is the slowest growing, the best one to have, the most manageable. As I say, many, many people have been through it. A number of my fellow senators have been through it. I've had conversations the last several days with a number of my fellow senators who've been through this. So I do feel fine. I've got a busy schedule. I'm going to leave here. I'm going over to the Charter Oak Community Health Center after I leave here. I've got a busy day tomorrow. Joe Lieberman's daughter's getting married on Sunday. Monday, I got Kathleen Sebelius coming into the state as well, the new Secretary of Health and Human Services. So a busy schedule will continue next week. We're back in the session in the Senate. And so we'll go forward. Secondly, I'm going to be fine in all of this. Again, we caught this early. The great thing about the annual physical is if you get an early detection of prostate cancer, it's very, very manageable. And so the good news is I'm going to be back out and doing all the things you have to do in order to represent my state and carry on the efforts we're engaged in. Thirdly, I want to mention something that I've talked a lot about over the last several weeks, but not in the context of the news today. As a member of Congress, I have a very good health care plan. My health care plan allows me to get paid an annual physical. And because I have an annual physical, I was able to detect this prostate cancer very early. I also then was able to take some time, because it is slow growing, over the last 6 weeks to talk to people about what's the best course of action to follow. I've developed almost an encyclopedic knowledge now about prostate cancer as a result of just reading books and talking to people. And the best course of action was recommended for me, and they made it be my choice in the end, was to do surgery. So shortly after we recess next week, I'll have surgery done at Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York to remove the prostate. And then it will take a day or so in the hospital. I'll be back in Connecticut at home for a couple of weeks, I think, after that, which they recommend as a period of recuperation. I'll be able to do work while I'm home. They recommend a light schedule, I'm told, in all of this. But the benefit of being in Congress and having a good health care plan is not available to everyone, which is the 4th point I want to make. And that is, today, 100 people in this state of Connecticut will lose their health care coverage. 14,000 people across the country will, today in the United States, lose health care coverage. For a person who loses health care coverage, that physical may not be something you can afford. And if you can afford the physical, you may not have the resources, the coverage to help you deal with this problem. I'm fortunate as a member of Congress to have those benefits. And so one of the things we've been fighting for, we'll continue to fight for, is to get this national health care reform effort passed in the Congress. I know it's controversial, it's hard. We spent a lot of time in the committee I've been chairing in place of my good friend from Massachusetts who's struggling with brain cancer at this time, to get that job done. We did 2 weeks ago. And while things fell apart a bit this week, I'm confident we'll get it back on track again. I've received a lot of calls this morning from friends. I frankly made the decision last evening about the course of action and made the decision to be here this morning to tell people about it. Why now? Why tell you now? I just felt, first of all, we can talk in abstractions about health care, but in some ways what I'm going through, many people do. And it's important that this, in a sense, gathering here to remind people that annual physical can make such a difference if you can detect this early. I strongly recommend men over a certain age to get this done every year. In fact, everyone ought to, but particularly in prostate cancer. And also, I want to be able to remind people about this healthcare debate. I didn't want to be an exhibit necessarily when I was conducting the markup back. I knew I had prostate cancer all during the month of June as I was conducting the markup, but I didn't think I should be the issue. It's not about me. It's about people without health care or the ones who are underinsured. People out there struggle every day. That's what really is at risk here by not getting this job done. So with that, I thank you for coming out. But again, I feel fine. I'm going to be fine. We caught this early, and look forward to getting back out on the trail and doing my job on behalf of the people of Connecticut. Let me ask Jackie if she has a comment she'd like to make. Jackie, do you want to say?
We're just looking forward to them getting out of session so that we can get the opportunity, the girls and I, Gracie and Christina, and I will be ready to patch you up, get you back out there again. And I like to think that if this is how many hours you can put in with cancer, I have no idea what you're going to do without cancer. So.
Let me just anticipate one question. Mark, maybe your question. I'm running for re-election. Now, I'll be a little leaner and a little meaner, but I'm running. I'll be running without a prostate, but that who knows? That may make a better candidate.
That was not my question.
Okay.
My question was that you've had anything but a light schedule over the past 6, 8, or 9 or 10 months. How are you going to roll back? I mean, you've got an awful lot on your plate right now.
Well, August is a recess month, and so we're not in session. We'll be out of session next Friday until September. So in a sense, it's convenient, I suppose, although there was the suggestion we probably ought to do this sooner rather than later. So it fits into that schedule. And again, I'm told by others, I had long conversations with John Kerry. I sit next to 2 United States senators on the banking committee, Richard Shelby of Alabama and Tim Johnson of North Dakota, both of whom have been through this. Saxby Chambliss, Republican senator from Georgia, and he had a long conversation about what he did, what they went through. Colin Powell, any number of people. Of course, Bob Dole, others have done this. So I don't expect any real delay, and obviously even while periods of recuperation, it doesn't mean you're off in isolation. So I'll be home, and a light schedule is recommended. For a week or so, I think they want you to just take it easy, but I anticipate by the end of the month to be able to be out and about.
Senator, will you be having, I'm sorry, do you want to take my question or Tom on?
No, you go right ahead.
Okay.
I'll get it. Yeah, Tom, Tom, you go ahead. Tom, by seniority.
All right, go ahead, Tom.
Senator, you had other options. How did you weigh those against deciding on the surgery?
Well, there are 3 or 4 different options you can go through, and one is start with one is what they call an active surveillance.
And there we hear from Senator Chris Dodd, the senior senator from Connecticut, who's held that seat for some 30 years, best friend to Senator Ted Kennedy, announcing that he has early-stage prostate cancer. But he said, I feel fine. And yes, he's running for re-election. He said without his prostate, though. He's going
leaner and meaner.
Leaner and meaner, that he's going to have it removed at Memorial Sloan Kettering, of course, in New York. But he kind of used this occasion, I think, this public forum to once again push for this reform of health care that he has been working so diligently on in the United States Senate, pointing out that in his home state of Connecticut that 100 people today will lose their health insurance. And it's one more reason why people need health insurance. So you can get the kind of preventative care so you can find out if you have prostate cancer.
What they call a message opportunity.
A message opportunity, exactly. And I think it was noteworthy, too, when I say that he said I'm running for re-election, it's because Chris Dodd is the most endangered Democrat in the Senate today. In fact, the latest poll numbers show that he's down about 10 points from the Republican who's running against him. So it's significant. He's got a tough race ahead, and he's also got this personal challenge.